Hey everyone, this is a continuation of the update video I posted last week. Firstly, I want to give a big thanks for the positive response from people. It really means a lot, and the financial contributions also made a big difference in how things went. Also, as I said, I will do something to thank people more at some point in the near future. However, the situation was dire, and so currently I'm having to stay in a hotel 20 miles away from where I was. And in terms of England, 20 miles is quite a distance. I've also had to put the majority of my belongings into a storage unit. All of this is something I'm not at all used to, and there's been a lot to take in. As I've always felt, I don't want Censored Gaming to revolve around myself personally. I don't think that would be the best thing for Censored Gaming. However, with smaller content creators and online resources, sometimes external problems can cause too many issues with operating everything. And that's clearly a situation that nobody wants to be in, but sometimes life can be like that. So as I mentioned last time, I've started a somewhat personal Twitter account, as I think improving communication and transparency would be a positive thing. But there are all sorts of things that could be, and perhaps should be created for the channel. So we'll see what the future holds when it comes to developing things further. Right now, however, time is a big issue, and that also means I can't go into too much right now, as there have been many things that have happened. To try and summarize though, if you've heard me talk about housing issues I've faced in the past, then you already have some idea about that side of things. And if not, then we're talking about a combination of finding myself trapped in dwellings that break all sorts of laws, crazy neighbors, crime, deprivation, and all of those sorts of nasty things. And then last year I had health issue after health issue, and it got pretty serious at points. This meant I couldn't do much, including work. This then caused big financial issues, and alongside this, my rent was raised a considerable amount, and then 4 months later, I was told I had to leave or have the rent increased a lot more, plus a bunch of other stipulations that wouldn't have been a positive thing for me. And even when I was in this position, health trouble was still a big thing, and I was powerless and in a very bad way. One thing that people have asked about in the past is, don't I have family who could help me out at all? And previously I've never sought that out due to knowing how unlikely it is. I actually had to spend time in a children's home, as no one in my family wanted me, and no matter what I've done, I've never really been able to change things. However, I gave it a shot during the events of this month, but the outcome was as I expected. Another point is the difficulty I have had finding places to live due to generating income online. Generally, outside of London, I would be viewed as suspicious, and they would be concerned about illegal activity and things. But in London, and even if that's not the case, then the situation is that I'm told I'll have to pay 6 to 12 months in advance, plus the other usual fees, such as the deposit. This is due to online income not being tied to a consistent contract, and anything else being seen as too much of a concern or hassle. The only exceptions to this are apartment shares, where most people don't seem to question things much, or sketchy short-term rentals that are likely infested with all sorts of big problems. And sharing apartments is an obvious risk, and problems with that is something I've by now had all kinds of experience with. And yeah, with a 6 to 12 months price tag, even somewhere cheap becomes the opposite of cheap. There really isn't any type of support for being in this situation either, and it was also something I never knew about, and it took me a long time to discover the full extent of everything. If there are any landlords watching who won't have this issue though, or if anyone thinks they may know someone, I'd appreciate that, and my contact email is in the description. Aside from something changing, which hasn't happened when I've spoken about things in the past, regardless of what I do and how sensible I try and be, some risk is inevitable. I also currently don't drive, which makes things even more challenging due to renting motorhomes and things not being an option. It seems that I'll have to take a risk with another apartment share for the time being, and so that's what I'm trying to sort out, but that requires rent, a deposit, and everything else. And even with this place being a budget hotel, it still adds up and is very costly. And I've also got a bunch of sizable bills right around the corner. Again, and what should be the last time, I'm asking for people's help if you can make a financial contribution. If I can make it past this point, then things should ultimately work out. And everything will be going towards housing. And once more, I'm trying to improve communication and transparency via the other Twitter account. Also, if anyone has any business opportunities, or if anyone feels comfortable enough to lend funds or something, then please get in touch. There will be links to my PayPal and the channel's Patreon and email address in the description. And my plans for the channel are the same as I discussed last time, so stay tuned. And until next time, thank you for watching.